right, good evening, everyone. Before I get started, we have a sign-in sheet over on my left-hand side. If anybody wants to ask a question regarding those items that are related to the agenda, you can do so here until 6:15. So if anybody's interested, please feel free to come up and sign up. Okay, before we get started, I want to read a statement. Okay, good evening. I'd like to call the September Pike Township Board meeting to order. I am Board Chair Claudette Peterson. Our primary duty tonight is to consider the Capital Improvement Plan, or CIP, created by the Pike Township Trustee's Office. I want to clarify some misconceptions for Pike Township residents, taxpayers about the plan. The Indiana General Assembly passed legislation in the spring that required townships to approve and submit a capital improvement plan to the state by September 30th. Any unallocated money in non-restricted accounts after that date will be taxed to help fund necessary roads and infrastructure improvements. The board was told by the Pike Township Trustee's Office in writing that a CIP would be provided by August 1st. The deadline came and went with no plan. So I, as the chair with the legal authority to do so, canceled our August meeting where we were supposed to discuss the plan, which again had not been delivered. There was no reason for the board to meet and taxpayers to incur meeting costs if we did not have the plan to review. The meeting cancellation was part of the board's goal to be good stewards of taxpayers' dollars. There was some confusion because despite the cancellation, the trustee called individual board members, asking them if they would be at the meeting. Let me reiterate, there was no meeting. It was canceled by me, the chair, to save taxpayers' dollars. We finally received the CIP plan after numerous requests on Friday, September 5th, more than 1 month after it was promised. Today, we are here to discuss the draft proposal and take a vote on it. We are well within the deadline outlined by the state to get the plan approved and to the Indiana Department of Local Government and Finance. Pike Township is not in jeopardy of losing any capital improvement funds, as the trustee has publicly claimed. As for the entire township budget, that document must be approved by November. So again, there's plenty of time. The CIP plan is a large component of the full budget, and without that and other key numbers that were missing, we could not adequately review and discuss the full township budget with any clarity. Please rest assured the board is functioning and excelling in its role as the legislative body of the township. We will continue to maintain good oversight of township funds, as well as fulfill our duties to act as a check and balance for the trustee. Now I'll open the CIP board for discussion.
This is the public hearing. Claudette.
Okay, so this is the public hearing, okay? I'm going to turn the floor over to Beth Marsh.
Okay, so as Claudette had mentioned, the plan was passed this year in session. It was HB 1461, and then what happened is when it was passed, DLGF had to create a template and do all that. And it was late, I'll be honest. I received it several times. They made like 7 different revisions to the Excel spreadsheet that they sent out because there was lots of things. So that is the reason it was not timely in getting out. No one's was timely because it was very difficult to get that done. As she mentioned, the funds are not in jeopardy. The way we have the plan, it's a 3-year plan, and this is a plan, and it's as of September 30th. And as with anything in capital improvements, the plan can change on October 1st. And what can happen, I use the example, and I've used this with some of the other townships I do. You have an intention that you want to buy a pool. Well, the next day you have issue with your roof and you have a leak and you've now got to fix your roof. So now guess what? That pool gets pushed off so you can buy that roof. So it's no different with township government, same thing. So this is a plan as of right now, but can change tomorrow. The plan does need to be passed, but also keep in mind, the balances are as of 12/31/26, which we have to estimate what those balances are at 12/31. So we have to take in what we're gonna spend the rest of this year, receive, and then everything that we're gonna spend and receive next year, so it's truly an estimation. But we have to approve this plan every single year, so there will be another plan that's gonna be approved of 9/30/26 before the 12/31 of 26 deadline. So there will be another plan, so at that point, we can have better looks at where things are, what's happened, where our funds are, and things like that. But there's plenty of things to obviously spend the money. Now, if you choose, again, if there's money that is left over, the board enters in, they have to approve these things that they want to use the money for, which is in Pike Township, so everyone knows it's in Pike Township. So that is, so I preface everything with saying that you know, it has to be approved. And right now, we have no worries of not spending our funds and things like that, and it truly is just a plan. So it's all unencumbered funds, which are the rainy day funds and your general fund. So on the plan that you have before you guys, the first page is basically a summary of showing what your balances would be if you used the plan. And in the rainy day, I'm showing that after we encumber the funds for the 3-year plan, that we would be negative $10,592. And on the general fund, we would be negative $1,261,336. Obviously, we're not gonna go negative, but it's showing that we have uses for the fund, is my point. And then the plan goes on, again, to say, it wants to know what the ending balance on the rainy day fund, what is anticipated at 12/31/26. At 12/31/26, anticipating, and that's easier because remember we don't draw too many funds out of there, it's going to be anticipated to be $3,589,406. And we're showing committed towards the plan for capital improvements $3.6 million, which then gives you that negative $10,592 that I was referring to. And then on the general fund, it's anticipated, and this one is a little more tricky because you literally have, money's coming in, but there's expenses going out, you know, there's obviously sometimes you have savings, we don't normally spend our entire budget ever. So there'll be some of those, then we have to anticipate, you know, I put in what we anticipate receiving for funds, and then our anticipated budget of what we're working through, for this year is in next year. And I say that number should be approximately $1,638,664. And then I have $2.9 million in committed funds for the improvements for the next 3 years, giving us an ending balance of negative $1,261,336. And the next page goes on to say the things that we want to use for these funds. And you can use funds other than just general funds. So we've got things in there for like related to like the fire, which those are good things that you can use out of the rainy day fund, you know, so they need, you know, ambulance purchases, station improvements, equipment purchases, radio replacements, vehicle purchases, ambulance purchase, additional station improvements, a ladder, just a lot of different, again, these are all things that are needed within the fire department. And then we've got, and potentially on the general and the rainy day, as far as the township of doing construction, redoing the township's, the government center here of the township. Then the last portion of this is you have to list your revenues of where you're anticipating receiving. And so basically, on the general fund, the the township does not receive property taxes. We don't have a civil levy in the township, only the fire department does. So we have what's called local income tax and then other revenues from different sources. And we're anticipating, well, 25 is just what we have, is 1,341,434, and other revenues, is 870,000. And then in 26, again, I've just estimated what those are based on what we receive. And then in 28, as it stands, because of the way the session and the bill was passed for SB1 was for the budget, is right now we will not be receiving lit dollars, which are the local income tax. So I've left that as zero, which that's an issue moving forward. Now they're making changes, I know, in next session, but we won't know what that is until that happens. Again, it's a plan, and we'll change it when more comes out next year, and that's where things are. So that is the overall information relating to capital improvement. This does need to be approved tonight, and again, it's only a plan, because then the funds are in jeopardy for receiving township and then the fire funds, and the word is in jeopardy. It doesn't say you won't get it, it doesn't say you will, it says it's in jeopardy if it's not passed tonight. So we have to pass this tonight, and we also have to establish a Fund 50, which is Road and Infrastructure Fund, for those funds. It's just establishing the fund. Doesn't mean we're putting money in the fund. It just, we have to establish it, and that has to be approved as well. So,
Are you done?
yep, and I'll turn it back over to you.
I'll open up the floor for public comment. All right, first person on the sheet is Pat. Ms. Pat? Pronounce your last name again, Ms. Pat? Madison?
I'm just saying, I can hopefully have a very productive meeting tonight, and we all work together.
You've got to speak up.
She comes
Stand
right
up, Ms.
here. No,
Pat.
she comes to the podium.
For the public comments, can you
Okay,
come to
okay,
the podium?
okay.
So we
You can come to the podium.
Everybody's comments recorded, please.
Didn't realize it was a podium.
Can I withdraw? No.
There you go.
There you go. No, what I wanted to say is I'm hopeful that we have a very productive meeting. We listen to each other, get along, and we do the best for Pike Township and everybody involved in here. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Just let me reiterate, the discussion is about what's on the agenda, okay, so let's keep to that. The next person is CMS Progressive. CMS?
Oh, Miss Cynthia.
Oh, Cynthia, come up, come up.
I can't. I have to defer because we just gonna get to the agenda.
Okay, all righty. Greg Taylor, Senator Greg Taylor.
Thank you to members of the Pike Township Trustee Board, Advisory Board, and first of all, whenever I see our service people here, I like to thank them for their service to Pike Township. I have represented Pike Township since 2008 as a member of the Indiana General Assembly, and I wasn't going to speak tonight until there was a discussion about the House Bill 1461 and the other issues that came up during the Indiana General Assembly, and I want to speak specifically to that because I think the residents of Pike Township should understand exactly, in layman's terms, what happened during the Indiana General Assembly. So, as most of you know, the Indiana Department of Transportation, along with another board, comes up with allocations for road funding for Marion County and other jurisdictions across the state of Indiana. Because Marion County, in most of our roads, if you notice, they're not single-lane roads. They don't go just east or west, north or south. There's typically more than one lane on each side of the road. That's important for this discussion because the funding formula at the state says that they will pay for linear footage on the roads based on linear footage, but you don't get to count 2 lanes. So you count 1 lane and the other lane doesn't get counted. So for communities like Marion County who have multiple lanes on each side of the road, we lose a significant amount of revenue under the funding formula for Department of Transportation. That being said, as most of you know, we've had some complaints about our infrastructure here in Marion County and other things. And as part of the process, the state of Indiana agreed to provide $50 million to the city of Indianapolis for road improvements. However, what you didn't hear was the fact that Marion County has to come up with matching funds of $50 million. So you ask yourself, how do we do that, right? Well, one of the solutions, this was not my solution, let me repeat that because we're in public record. This was not my solution, was to have townships, through their excess funds, contribute to road infrastructure in the township. There was language put into the bill that said that if you, for example, in Pike Township, if any excess funds from Pike Township were to be used for road infrastructure, it had to be used in Pike Township, okay? So, just so everybody knows, it's not like if Pike Township allocates money in its capital improvement plan for road infrastructure, it could be used in Wayne Township or Lawrence Township or Washington Township. It cannot be used that way. What I suggested, and I think was conveyed, is that the capital improvement plan does utilize all the funds available through our LIT here in Pike Township, local income tax. Sounds like that's what they've done. When I hear negative words or negative balances, that's what I hear. That you've utilized all the funds that are available, therefore, where there will be no excess funds to be used for road infrastructure. Let me repeat that. When you hear negative balances, doesn't mean we're going to be upside down. You have to allocate those funds. Otherwise, the state will determine that they will be excess funds, and therefore those excess funds have to be used for road improvements and cannot be used to supplement the fire budget, the township budget, and/or any critical needs of the community's budget. All right? Please correct me if I go wrong there. Now, we're going to have a problem in 2028. And the reason why I came up here, is because it was said that we were going to do something in 2026 to fix it. I am not going to stand here and tell you that's what we're going to do, because I don't know what is going to happen in 2028.
I just know there's discussions.
Yeah, yes, there's discussions. I agree with you. I just wanted to make sure my constituents deserve to understand where their elected officials are coming from on this issue, and that's why I'm standing here. In 2028, the LIT will go away, at least under the current structure of Senate Bill 1. So you will not have LIT, and you need to find a way to supplement what went away under the Senate Bill 1 infrastructure, or under the Senate Bill 1 bill. I hope to introduce language to fix some of these issues. Don't think we're on an island by ourselves. There are communities across the state and townships across the state who are in the same predicament that we are in, and we need to be prepared to actually go forward and try to come up with some plans so that we don't lose our local income tax, because that is the source of revenue that you have for the services that you have here in the community. It is not property taxes, although the Senate Bill 1 had to do with property taxes. So I just wanted to get up here and clarify that and make sure that my constituents know that you're gonna have somebody down there fighting for Pike Township and make sure that we don't end up in negative balances and that, you know, the township is still operating. So thank you, board members, and thank you. If you have, I don't know if this is question and answer public hearing. When we do a question and answer. If you have any questions, I'm willing to answer.
Thank you, Senator.
Any board members have any questions for Senator?
Thank you for explaining that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next person is Teresa Perry.
Good evening to the board and everyone that's here, to the firefighters that are here. I see a couple on the wall there that assisted me with a family member this morning, and for that I say thank you, and I'm very grateful. So I'm new to the board, and I'm kind of listening. I just have a couple of questions about the road, repairs, damage, or whatever. I had a car total, and I'm just gonna get straight to the point, because I can't get in the chase because I don't quite understand it. Had a car total with the roads here. I live in Pike Township. I've been a Pike Township, homeowner for 25 years. And I had a car total. So I sent in my Turk, T-O-R-T, report, and I've yet to hear back, but I hope I do. My car was in good shape and and everything. So much for that. That's not irrelevant to now. But I hear us talking about roads. And then, of course, the other things were our Pike Township essential services and what they are doing and bringing and the allegations of funds for them. Again, I just want to say thank you, but I needed my voice to be heard at this meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of public comments, questions. Ms. Perry was the last on the list. Okay, going down to number 3. I'm sorry, Beth, are you on here again for, okay.
Me again. This is so we have to close the other public hearing and open the new public hearing.
Okay, so we're closing the public hearing from the capital improvement plan overview and open up the public hearing for the,
So, yes, and I believe the chief wanted to. We're gonna take action on this yet? We have to vote on it, but that's later, because that's a resolution during the meeting. Okay.
It's number 6. It's number 6. Thank you.
I wanted to take an opportunity to provide you with some additional, some updated information before we jump into the other part from Beth's presentation on the budget. Last month, we had presented you with a packet on the budget. The information that I just presented you there are some updates to that, to reflect some new numbers within that budget. So that first package of items there that are paper clipped together starts with the executive summary, and you can really go through that and pull those pages, that page number 5 out of the binder that I gave you previously, and insert this new page there. Same thing as you go down those other pages, page 19, page 22, page 23, page 24, and page 25. Those are
Just so everyone knows, the ones that I had phone calls with individually, this is the same numbers that he's talking about. So nothing's changed since we've discussed things.
Yes,
So
these are
everyone
the
knows that.
exact same numbers that you saw, if you met with Beth previously, exact same numbers that you saw with her, just presented in a little bit of different format. And I'd be glad to speak directly on any of those. If you have a question specific to any of those, I'll kind of defer a little bit to Beth, and then I'll stay here to try to answer questions that you may have. Oh, I'm sorry, one other thing, within that package of information that I provided, there's a page for budget, which shows by the fund, what those budget items are. With the stuff that you previously saw, and again, those match directly with what Beth showed you previously. And then after that is, with each one of those funds, also has a section for the budget objectives, which again, just kind of tells you a little bit about the particular line item, and then what kind of expenses you might find in that particular line item. I'm sorry, Beth. Now I'll defer to you.
No, you're fine.
Chief, excuse me, is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
the general budget?
What's that?
Is that the general budget package you were just speaking about?
That is, the general budget is one of them, yes. That same information is there for each fund. So you'll have one for the township general budget. You'll have a package of information there for the court budget, one for the assistance, one for the direct assistance, one for fire, and one for CUME fire. So each one of the funds that we do have appropriations for.
So the notice to the taxpayers that was published on Gateway, I just need to read that for this meeting. So for the rainy day fund, there was nothing budgeted for that, and there was no levy for that. The general fund budget is $2,724,688. The township assistance fund is $1,517,400. The fire fund is $52,520,134, and the cumulative fire is $940,000. The total of that, total budget estimate is $57,702,222. The fire levy is $29,018,161, and the cumulative fire levy is $2,113,718. For a total levy between the two is $31,131,879. And just as well, the property tax caps are $3,846,300. The one thing I just wanted to note is the property tax caps did go up quite a bit over last year. They went up 40%. So the levy went up 4%, but then the property tax caps, or the circuit breakers, they did go up 40%, which that obviously cuts into the funding, because they went up by $1 million, a little over $1 million. One of the things that's new on this notice is township assistance has to have the phone number, which that's included on here. And the adoption meeting for the budget is October 21st at 6 p.m. And just a few, that's what's needed to require, but I just sort of wanted to give a few items, just so everyone knows just a little, some of the funding behind, what we went in to do the budget. So basically, overall, we had 5% increases for the township assistance funds, and the fire is based off of the collective bargaining agreement that has not been passed yet. So this is based off of that, but I will say that the chief, and every year that they work and do this, they're always within their budget, and they always estimate quite well with everything as far as that. The board salaries are flat, and then they still continue to receive the per payment, per meeting. For the most part, expenses are at 3%, but utilities is increased by 10%, and health insurance by 15%. If there's really been no change in the budget, that literally nothing's changed from last year, most times we kept those flat. There was a change in a couple positions, which I had talked about. moved from the fire to the township because they're used for the entire township. And the insurance premiums for the assistance was a little bit higher because there was a health issue, and we can't predict where that'll be, and it's obviously a HIPAA violation, so we accounted for a little bit of extra in that area as well. So that's just sort of the overview of the logic between, the budget. So I don't know if anyone signed up for that public hearing.
I have a question.
Yes.
When we, in reference to township assistance, when we are discussing how we're going to allocate funds for rental assistance or mortgage, are we using the Fair Housing Administration's calculations when it comes to the assistance?
Well, I mean,
Because
it's
you-
taken
because you
into
said
effect,
you
I'll be honest, it's
5%.
based off of the need of what we've needed in the past, and when we go over the financials, you will see that we have spent more, and this year, we're going, in the next meeting, we will be doing additional appropriation, because we are spending, because the need is much greater, and most years we don't, but I will tell you, across the board, townships are needing to do additional appropriations for assistance this year, especially with the AES situation, and then just rental in general, so, you know, we're trying to help, the township is trying to help as many people as possible.
Well, I'd like to make a recommendation that you look at the fair market housing document for 2026 while you're looking at those numbers, because even if you increase it by 8%, it may not still meet the need of the individual.
We did increase it 205,000, so we've increased it a lot just because of the need.
Yeah, but it may meet,
But yes, that's
Need to
fair,
increase
I will
more.
look at that, yes.
okay, so I'm gonna give you the document
Okay.
so you can work off of it.
What was our baseline for support before you made that increase percentage?
Based on what we've used in the past, because we've never met that in the past, we've always stayed within the budget lines, but this year there's a greater need, and that's why, since there is, that's why we're gonna do an additional appropriation to do some additional assistance.
I'd like to also make a comment regarding what you just said, Beth, that we've always stayed within the budget. And part of the reason, and Senator Taylor maybe can speak better to it than I, but part of the reason why we're here in reference to SB1 was because we had this excess amount of money in a rainy day fund, 3.5 million, along with in the general fund. And so when government sees that, you know, there are things like, why haven't we used it? You know, we went through the biggest storm we could ever go through in this nation, 2020 and 2021. And I sat on the board at the time. We did not use that one penny. And people were being evicted, people were dying. We couldn't keep up with what the funeral homes wanted from us, reference to burying their loved ones, and that money was never used. So we're here today because of that excess money. I just wanted to say that for the record.
Well, and also, during COVID, a lot of the rental assistance was not used because Indy Rent's program was in place. So in Marion County, there was a lot of people were getting their assistance through Indy Rents.
Yeah, but that was after the fact. All right, so do we still use the same, if someone has a question, the same sign-in sheet or for
You answered-
public
you
comments?
answered that one? I don't know.
Do we go by the same sheet, Mr. Bellamy?
If those folks want to make another comment about this topic,
Right, this topic.
then by all means they may, but if no one signed up for it, then you can
Okay.
get comments from questions to the chief or questions with that, and you can close the public hearing.
Okay. The senators, do you want to say something?
Thank you again for allowing me to ask questions. I don't have a copy of the budget proposal. Is that available somewhere so the people from the general public, and I'm talking about the actual package, not just the overview. You know, I guess, let me say this then, let me comment first. I vote on a budget every 2 years. that is significantly higher than this budget. We, as members of the General Assembly, before we vote on a budget, we get access to the entire full budget, line by line, and it's billions of dollars.
The board does have that.
But for the public to comment, let me make sure I understand this. How do you comment on something that you don't have access to?
Well, I mean, what's published is this, is the Form 3, and I'm just saying that's what's published, that's all
But
that is
where?
published.
Where?
Well,
That's what I said before I started, it was in Gateway for you to
okay,
access.
so let me speak to that. Thank you for doing what the law requires. That's a Form 3 that is required by the state of Indiana. But it does not restrict the township from posting their proposed budget as well. So we're doing the minimum. I'm asking that we do the maximum. So, but, it's not, to me, it's not about transparency, it's actually gathering information. So that the people we voted for, I don't live in Pike Township, the people that voted in Pike Township for these board members can address the issues that they have with their board members, because they voted for. So without having that budget, in front of us to look at, to see, usually, and I'm sure that budget has what you had before, and then the increase, what you, or decrease, depending on what the item is for the next year, right? So, I think going forward, we should, before you approve this budget, you should post the proposed budget and any amendments on the Pike Township website. So the people can look at that and be able to pull it up and look at it, not just an overview. And I'll give you a perfect example, the overview. If you could go back to it. I just want to talk about a couple of things. If you look at if I looked at that from the general public, and I said this before, it looks like township fire is operating at a deficit. Am I correct? Your income is less than what you spend,
Well, there's a lot of other sources, that's just the levy, that's all
That's-
that is the levy.
but that's my point. So if I were to look at that from the general public, just, you don't spend money on the fire department just from your levy. There's other sources. What are those sources?
There's EMS dollars, there's lit dollars, there's CVET, FIT,
See,
excise.
income expenses. That to me, and I understand that that's required by law, and I totally appreciate what you do to provide that. But that is the minimum that you're supposed to provide. I know the board members have the packet and they are the ones that vote. All I'm asking is that my constituents have access to the same thing that the board members have by the next meeting. So that's, is that something that can be done?
That's the trustee's
Yeah,
decision.
yeah, we don't have any control over
We've
that,
asked, that's
unfortunately.
the trustees,
That's the
we've
trustee.
asked.
You have to ask her.
Okay, well, she's not on the board. I mean,
Well,
I don't wanna put
We
her
don't
in that
have, we don't have
position.
access to
What,
it.
what,
Oh.
hold on, what we have, we can provide, okay? Now, the important thing is how do we get it to
Right.
the people, okay? And that would have to come through the townships,
Okay, all right,
okay?
well,
But,
I don't wanna speak,
but
if
I,
somebody else wants to come up here and ask that question, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't wanna speak for everybody else, I'm just speaking for me, that before anybody, I mean, our state budget, which is over 400 pages, you can see it, you can see every amendment, you can see what I think you already had an amendment from the proposed to today, right?
no, we haven't.
I thought there were replacement pages, where's the chief?
There are, yes, there are.
Okay,
There was,
so
there was not an amendment from this board, now.
no, I'm
Okay.
saying, so why were those changed? I think the people who pay the bills should know why.
I agree.
And I'm not saying it's nefarious in any way, by the way. There could be a valid reason for all of that. But I think the people need to know what the change is and why there was a change. So,
I agree, Senator.
well,
You
there's
know.
still time. We don't have to pass this until
Right, until,
October 21st.
The budget, yeah.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, board members, Madam Trustee.
uh,
Did I hear you right? You said the assistance dollar amount has been the same since 2021 for assistance for housing when people come in?
it has
No.
changed probably 3 to 5%. It has not changed in reference to the level of inflation
I was
and
gonna say,
or
yes,
the
key
rental.
inflation. Yeah, I
Yes.
was gonna say, that would be a good, go off the
Yes.
housing inflation module to kind of keep current with the current request needs. And then,
And we have, we
okay.
have,
And the other thing,
so that's not accurate information.
if, don't you guys as the board member have an input, say, if the request for assistance is, needed to be more, to bring that to the attention, and then as board members vote on that? Has that not happened in the last
Well,
3 years?
that's what we would pass over to the trustees, and then they, would-
And we've done it. Whatever they have sent us in the past for the board to, you know,
Agrees or whatever.
go up to the maximum or what we need to do, we have done that. We have never not given people what they need. That
And they
is-
always adopt that every year.
It's not.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure,
Yeah,
like,
they've adopted
that's
every
what their
year.
mechanism is
Yeah, we
for, to
adopted
kind of make
Yeah, it's
suggestions
adopted
to.
every year.
I wanna be
that's
sure
one
that's happening.
person speak at a time, please.
Yeah,
Okay,
so yes, I have.
okay. All right, thank you. I was just want to make sure I heard that right.
Well, what I'll do for you, Paul, for the last 6 years I've been on this board, I will give you the comparison each year. Okay? How about that? All right, anybody else have any other questions? Okay, I guess Chief, you have the public comments portion of this is
I don't-
closed? So.
I only have anything if you have a question of me.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from May 20th, 2025. Has everybody had an opportunity to read through them? The only thing I would, I'm not sure if it takes an amending the minutes or not. Jeff, maybe you can tell us. But I would take advisory out of this board minutes. Ashley, please.
You can approve subject to revisions.
Say that again?
You can approve subject to
Yeah,
revisions.
so, yeah,
Subject
yeah.
to, like, a correction of the name, or if there's a typographic
Okay.
error or something.
All righty.
And I think that's what we've done in the past.
All right, so anybody have an objection to anything that's been stated in the minutes? I need somebody to make a motion in reference to,
I move to accept the minutes, subject to approval of any revisions.
revisions. Anyone second?
I second that motion.
Okay. Anyone disagree? Okay. The vote, they have a vote to approve the minutes from May 20th? Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against the, okay, the motion to approve May 20th minutes, 2025 have been approved. Okay, Beth, it's up to you, back to you again, year to date.
Okay, so you've got your financial report in front of you. So we're 7 months into the year, and we are 58% of the budget. We're fine in all categories, so in township government, our personal services are at 34%. Supplies are at 35. The services and charges are at 32, and then our capital is at 43. So overall, the township portion of the general fund is at 37%. And our small claims, personal services again are at 54%, supplies are only at 24%, services and charges are only at 20, and our capital outlay is at 1. So that's at 47%, and then the overall township portion is at 42%. And then on page 2 is the welfare administration of township assistance. The personal services is at 28%. Supplies are at 6%. Services, we haven't done anything there, and our capital outlay is at 0 as well. In our direct core relief portion, the medical, hospital, and burials were at 15%. We have spent 11,000 on hospital. We've not spent anything on the hospital portion of the budget, but we have spent on burials. We've spent $7,885, which is 20% of the budget. In our other direct core relief, in household supplies, the budget's 10,000. We've only spent 630, which is 6%. Clothing right now, we've not spent very much. We've only spent 299, which is 2%. And then shelter, that one is at 61%, is $168,026 on a budget of 276. And that's the one, as I mentioned, that will, part of the reason we're gonna be doing that additional appropriation next month to allocate more for that. And then also in our public utilities, we're at 51%. On a budget of 80,000, we've spent 40,522. And in our baby assistance portion, we've only spent 391. So overall, we're at 51% in that, but because we're spending those and we don't know what's gonna happen in the last few months, that's why we wanna make sure that we have enough for all of that. And then in our fire, our personal services, we're at 52%. And then our supply category, we're at 53%. Services, we're at 49%, and our capital outlays is at 4%. So overall, the fire is only at 41, so we're really good in that area as well. And then the cumulative fire, we've only spent 14% of that. So our overall budget, we're only at 39% of our overall budget, so, and everything is in line. Again, if you've got, you get the AFR to date through July, so that you can look anything up to see the details of the people that we paid, because it gives you the listing of all of those people, and it's all by categories. So again, you can look through that if you have any questions, and if you see something you have a question about, again, as always, you can ask me.
Can I say something real quick, please? Because I was watching everybody's face. This is a lot of numbers, isn't it? And I agree with Senator Taylor, because although I'm an elected official for the Pike Township Board, I'm also a taxpayer. I also sit on boards where I'm a treasurer. This is a lot of numbers. These are a lot of numbers to look at. And I agree that these need to be uploaded so the taxpayers can see exactly what's going on. And if they don't understand, they can run it through ChatGPT, and then they can explain it to you. So unfortunately, just so you understand, we do not have the capability or have the control of uploading this information to the Pike Township website. That lies with the trustee. So I want to go on record now as saying that after this meeting, I would like all of these documents to be uploaded to the website so our taxpayers can see what's going on. And maybe if they don't, they can call a girlfriend like I do and say, can you explain some of this to me, please? Okay? Because I do. I don't understand everything. And these are a lot of numbers. And this is a lot of money. Okay? And they're explaining it so fast, I'm looking at everybody's face and it's like everybody's lost. So I'm making that, I want to put that on record that I want that done. I don't know if we have to pass it or anything. Do we have to do a motion? Attorney Jeff?
If you want to make a motion for that, you can.
Okay, I would like to make, can somebody make a motion for that? Oh, I would like to make a motion that all of these documents that the board has, every single page, I don't care if it's 500 pages, it can be scanned. I'm in IT, I know this, and put into a folder, a zip folder, and everybody can see it. Now, we would, but we don't even have emails for you guys to send us anything. So we apologize for that. We're still working on that.
Member Perkins, may I just interject
Yes.
real quick? Attorney, If we make the motion, is it enforceable? Because what I don't want to do is us put on this show, we make a motion, as we've done before in some issues, and then it's just dead silent. So us making a motion, what does that legally do? Because we've heard from the people, they want it on the website, they want to be able to view it in real time, and that's a fair ask. So what does that look like legally to enforce this?
You can ask that this be done. The control of the website, as much as control of the building, is within the purview of the executive.
The trustee? Okay.
And can I make a statement with that when you guys get done?
I'd like to make a motion. Oh,
But let me make a statement first. And this is to our community that is out in the audience. I would like to refer to the Indiana Township Association to see what other townships do. From what my directives that I have from downtown, that information is not on websites. Now, if you go on the website right now, you see the budgets from the previous years, and I know what you're saying. You want to see what's going on now. Again, I will refer to the Indiana Township Association and see what rights that I have to do that. Again, other townships don't do that. There's 1,005 townships in the state of Indiana. It's not like I'm doing anything purposely, because I don't want you to know that. Just like the previous comment, when we got the information, that's when I gave the information to the board. I didn't hide anything. I didn't take my sweet time. I was trying to be transparent and get the information to you sooner, but I didn't know that downtown would take their time and make different changes. So I want to put that on the record. If we're going to tell the truth, then tell the truth. Don't give half pieces of it. So again, I will refer to Indiana Township Association. I am on the board there as well, and see what our capabilities are. In the past, I put the budget up, I put the agenda up, I put the meeting information, everything is there. You can go look at it right now. But I see what your question is. Are we able to scan zip documents and all that? Again, I would have to refer to the attorney and to Indiana Township Association before I make a decision if that is something that I can do. And you're more than welcome to
Attorney
go
Jeff, can I ask
to
you a quick
other
question,
townships
please?
too, and look at
Are
their.
these public? These are public record? These are, okay.
They've been introduced in the public meeting, so they're
Okay,
available.
okay, I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that it's okay for the people to get a
Public.
copy of what we have. That's all I just wanted to make sure.
And I just want to also say, I respect what you're saying about clarifying with the Indiana Township Association, Trustee Johnson. But if other townships decide to handle their business, that's their business. This is Pike.
Right.
We represent Pike. And Pike, we have unique issues, unique wants, and unique needs.
No
So
different than
our
the other
business
ones.
is our business. Other townships, that's their
It's no
business. And this is
different than the
public
other
record and
ones.
One
information.
person, please.
No different, no.
One person.
That's all I have to say, Madam Chair.
For the next meeting, we will, I don't want to point you out, but go on, Robin. You come to the podium, please. Thank you. I was going to call on you, but I thank you that you raised your hand.
Good evening, board members,
Good
trustee, and everybody here. My question is, if this is public record, the budget is public record, correct?
Yes.
So you could go on Gateway, if anybody knew what that was, you could find this information even in detail, correct? As a Pike Township, person, I live here and have lived here for 20-plus years. I could ask for written record. Am I right about that? I could ask for it in writing, in the details,
Yeah.
and you have to respond to me in X amount of days, 10 days, I think it is. Now, of course, all you gotta do is say you got my message, but you would then supply me with the details of this budget. Is that not correct?
That's
That's
correct.
correct.
That's all I needed to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I guess the other option to it not being uploaded is the trustee's office having it available so that anyone who wants to come by the office can pick it up. That would be the other option. Okay. But to Board Member Perkins's, point. There's a lot of information. Like I said before, I've been sitting on this board for a few years now, and pretty much this has been the standard. Okay? The entire details of any of the budgets that have been passed in the past was never detailed. It was kind of an overview. There have been many times I've personally have asked questions about the budget, and they were not answered. So, and I'm speaking from experience. So moving forward, we need to do a better job of making sure you all have what you need to understand what we do. So when we do things, you understand why we did them, whether you agree or disagree. Like I said in my statement, we're that check and balance. We're here to make sure your tax dollars get spent correctly and not frivolously. That's what we're here for. Okay, anybody wants to see anything different, then, in about 3.5 years, someone else can take these seats that we have. But we are true to the business of Pike Township. Okay, we all took an oath. All right, so, so we're good, or you want to rescind your motion?
Yes, I would like to rescind my
Okay,
motion.
so you rescind your motion. All right.
Can I say one last thing? 'Cause just
Yeah,
to
go on,
clarify
Beth,
procedure.
yes.
So on the financial statements, just for some clarification for you, I mean, this isn't the numbers, but when I refer to personal services, I'm talking about the pay, oh, I think you're raising your hand to me.
No, the sun.
I'm talking about the payroll of people that they have, their retirement plans, their insurance and things like that. And then under supply section is like stationery, office supplies, printing, and things like that, repair supplies, things to that nature. And then services and charges are the professional fees, the utilities, the travel, any actual repairs done by people, the care of the cemeteries, and dues and subscriptions. And then capital outlays are, the things that we talked about, the capital plan, are like buildings, infrastructure, equipment, and things like that. So I just wanted to clarify what each of those sections are to help as well.
So, in reference to the, my thing is to make sure those that are in need are receiving the best that we can offer. So when you provide these year-to-date, spreadsheets, is it possible you can bring the data so that if we give this out to the general public, they are cross-checking the data with the numbers? Is that possible?
So this
Beth?
AFR, that is the data that stands behind these
But
numbers?
that's a pretty large document.
Okay, well, I'm
you
just
know.
saying, that's the numbers that do stand behind that number, so for that.
So it'll show us how many people were serviced for,
It doesn't show you the service, these are strictly numbers, so.
that's what she's asking.
Oh, I see, okay, so
Right.
as far as the service, no, it does not show that. Those are like, that would be a different report that the assistance office. I personally don't deal with the people that are receiving the assistance, I just know the money that they spend for the assistance.
Okay.
That they help the people, the money that's spent on them, so I don't have that, that's something that the trustee from the assistance department that they have. I know one of the reports that you had requested, I think it was when I was talking with you, Claudette, you'd asked about that, or maybe it was Demetrius. You had asked about the numbers, and I think Ms. Perkins, I think you were the one that requested that, and that was the one that was at page 7 and 8 in your document, that was for the TA7, which gives you the breakdown of the number of assistants and the amount that was serviced for each one of those sections. So there is something that has that, and you do have that, but that's not in this document.
And I looked for the TA7 for 2025. I couldn't find it, so I may need you to help me navigate that.
Okay, I can
Because
show
all I
you.
was able to bring up was
Yeah, I just know
2024.
it's one of the things that Annette sent, so the trustee
Okay.
sent, so I can get that and show you.
And in reference to the 51%, do you know what percentage of individuals we help with prescription drugs, or, you know?
Right now,
any-
based on this, there's not been any assistance with prescription drugs.
And you know how much money's in that account?
I can tell you. There's $11,000.
For prescription drugs?
And that's about $1,000 more. I'm not sure if it was last year or no, 2-3 years ago, it was at 10,000. So we increased it by $1,000, but yes, still have not used it.
But someone has to request assistance on that. So it's
Right.
like, we can't just give it out. We
Yeah.
have to have, someone has to come in and request assistance. And I will tell you with other townships that I use, most people don't really use very much in that line at all. And I'm not saying, I mean, you're here to service Pike, and that's totally fine, but I'm just saying they have to ask for it.
Yeah. Well, the other part of it, people have to know.
Exactly.
Well, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
All
let's
right,
move
so
on to the
moving
next
on.
one.
Now, somebody has to explain to me the Fund 50 resolution. Is that you, Chef, Chief, or?
Where's that, Jeff?
Good evening, members of the board. All the Fund 50 resolution is the establishment of the Road and Infrastructure Fund. All it is that of our several different columns in your budget, we're gonna, old-timey, take our ruler and our pencil, and we're gonna draw a new line, and you're gonna establish the fund. That's all it is. It's merely a accounting and bookkeeping issue that you've done this timely. There's not a lot of guidance on when this should be done, but I think Beth and I both agree it ought to be done now.
Yeah.
Then if for some reason later on that there are funds that would qualify to go in it, it's there ready to receive them. All you're doing is a compliance issue. The Road and Infrastructure Fund.
It's Fund
It's
50.
tied to the capital improvement plan that we discussed 20 minutes ago.
Correct, and it's the Fund 50 is what it's for. It's called Road and Infrastructure.
Okay, so,
I guess I had a question about that. I don't know if
yeah,
there was a
I'm
dollar
little confused
amount.
also.
There's no dollar amount, it literally is an establishment. So what it is basically in the accounting system, I would create a new fund called Fund 50, Road and Infrastructure. Nothing will be put in it, and if there is money ever to be, like at 12/31/26, I mean, nothing's gonna even happen before 12/31/26 to be put in it. But if there were monies left over and we had to put the 30% in there, that point, it would be discussed. Again, if we have, if the funds are restricted and as they are correct right now, then nothing will go in it. It'll just stay zero. It literally is the establishment of the fund. That's all it is. And I just have to create it on the county records after it's been established, after it's been voted, that we can establish it.
And so if there are monies that would go into that fund, again, those are monies that be left over from the general fund
Unrestricted dollars.
and the unrestricted dollars, which is your general fund and your rainy day fund.
And if the monies go in there, which is that 30% that we've
Right,
discussed,
right.
if you put money in there, you can't take it back out.
Right.
So it stays in there forever and always. So just know that whenever you do put money in there, it stays in that fund until you determine that, and again, you have to enter in an MOU, which the board would approve with someone regarding using it within Pike Township. And then you will approve where that funds will be used, and then it will be dispersed to that project, but not for the township any longer.
It would be for the roads,
Correct.
which we
Which
need
be-
to address them.
Right, that's correct. No,
The
you're
roads of
correct.
the township.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
From excess funds that we,
Correct. That-
So let's
and that's
not-
only
Wrong,
if there's
Senator,
excess
what?
funds available.
Hold on a second, hold on.
That's only if there's excess funds that are available and they're put in there as of 12/31/26 or every year end, basically. It's this, that's the first time it would do it. But that's the only time. But again, this is literally for nothing regarding money at all. It's just literally to establish the fund.
for the money, okay, we get that. I think we
Okay.
get that. We're just trying to figure out like, since there's not a dollar value, but we know hypothetically this would be excess funds, so that means we would not have spent the dollars down. And
Correct.
That's where we're trying to get to, how do we budget for that, but we're not spending the dollars
Well, no,
down?
that's where your capital improvement plan comes into play. Your capital improvement plan is a plan in place to use those dollars. It's
Excesses.
not that you're spending it. We will not go negative. We will never go negative. It's just showing that we've encumbered, based on our plan, all of those funds. But we're not spending it and we're not going
Okay.
negative. So based on the current plan, we have encumbered those funds through our capital improvement plan. And again, you don't overspend. It's like I said, it's a plan for that
Spend
point
it,
in
yeah.
time, but it can change tomorrow.
So that's back to what Senator Taylor said earlier in reference to the way the budget looks. It looks like we're at a negative because what you've done, you've encumbered that money that's sitting there right now.
But
So
it's not
that
negative.
it doesn't, none
The
of that money
appearance.
goes into this fund, because you've encumbered it in,
Correct. It's showing that we need to use it for projects, which
Right.
there's a lot of projects that the township can use, and that's what it's showing, is that we need the funds for down the road. And it doesn't even necessarily mean this is a 3-year plan, but again, things can change, and that project that we have in year 2 may be pushed to year 5. So, I mean, it changes, and it's ever changing, so that's why the word is used as a plan, not as a, this is what it is and has to be.
so, Beth, can you break down for me the projects that we have, the money has been encumbered for again? Is that on the capital improvement
It is.
expenditures, right?
Yeah. But
Okay,
this still
so,
is just for the capital improvement plan, not for the establishment of Fund 50, just to clarify.
but I'm talking about the capital,
Yeah,
this document here.
yeah. So what's in the plan currently,
For 2026, December 31, the,
well, this is actually as of 9/30.
well, no, well, I understand that, but I'm saying it's for 2026 budget, as far as the projects are concerned.
Correct.
So-
We've got ambulance purchase, vehicle purchases, or station improvements, equipment purchases. These are all related to the fire and the cumulative fire funds. Specialty vehicle purchases, radio replacement, ambulance purchase, just new new equipment purchases, ladder purchase, an ambulance remount, and also for improvements for the construction of a new governmental center for here, and that's actually in the rainy day and general funds for the township. And that's what's in place right now as the plan, again, right this second.
Right.
As of 9/30.
Right, that we're submitting to the Department of Local,
Correct. That's
Government
what I will
finance.
If it gets approved, I will upload this tomorrow.
okay.
So we'll be in compliance, so again, we're not jeopardizing our funds of receiving our levies and tax dollars.
So do we have a breakout of what those projects look like, Chief? Do we have it that we can have that?
You have it in front of you right now. In that-
Which,
In that, on that expense page,
on the expense page?
This is what you were looking at.
This one, that one, which you was looking at.
Which one are we looking at?
It's this one right here.
let me,
That's the one you was looking at?
Yeah, but,
let me see if I can get it up to have for you.
It's the one that says expenditures.
Right there,
on it.
funded.
It's that one, yes, that's it, yes, you got it.
so what I'm asking is, we have $420,000 for an ambulance.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that for one ambulance, or is that for two?
That is for one ambulance.
Okay, thank you. Staff vehicles, what are we talking about? We got
Those would-
$329,000.
Those would be some of our staff vehicles. It could be anywhere from a battalion chief vehicle, safety vehicle, could be vehicles for admin staff, our EDO duty officer. Any of those staff kind of vehicles that are not fire engines, not ambulances, not ladder trucks.
Okay. And with the staff vehicle, did we purchase vehicles about 2.5 years ago for a battalion,
We
about 2.5 years ago?
We purchase vehicles regularly. I don't know when the battalion vehicle was purchased. I can certainly look that up to see. I would expect that it was probably I'll look back to somebody in the back to tell me if that was about 2.5 years ago. But could have been. I
Okay.
don't specifically know when that vehicle was purchased.
Okay.
How many vehicles does this price tag encompass?
Excuse me?
How many vehicles does this price tag encompass? You named the type of vehicles.
I would have to look back to see what specific numbers are in that for that particular year that's listed there. That's part of our budget numbers. But to tell you that it's 5 or it's 6, I don't know what that is specifically without digging back into it to see.
I would like to look a little closer at that. I would want to know, because I know about 2.5 years ago, we bought brand-new vehicles.
We buy vehicles annually. And we typically look and see, depending on the vehicle itself and what it is, we have a lifespan for each of those vehicles. Our engines and our ladder trucks are typically 10 to 12 years. Our ambulances are 4 years. Then we'll remount the ambulance once, so we get a new chassis underneath it. And then we'll turn around and get it new again in 3 years. So all those, staff cars are 5-year replacement schedules. But then we look at each of those staff vehicles at any given moment to see whether or not those can last more than 5 years or last less than 5 years. It depends on the particular vehicle.
Okay. I'd like to see the data on the vehicles, and the wear and tear and all that stuff.
Actually, I asked that in the email.
Okay.
I never did get that response, though.
I believe the ask, ma'am, was for the vehicle expenses, and you did receive that.
It was?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, so I'd like to look a little closer at that number. And the station improvements, is that one station? Is that? what do we-
It would typically be for multiple stations that we'd be looking at. We go through and do a lot of concrete work on approaches that gets expensive because of the vehicles that run, the heavy weight of the vehicles running over that concrete. So typically that's the big portion of what those annual expenses are. And again, those are part of our annual budget.
Is that part of a bidding process?
We do not typically bid those projects, as we have a contractor that we'll typically use. We may go out, the project itself is not normally that large to require a bid for it, so we'll go out and look at different contractors to compare their pricing, but we do not bid it.
Can you give me an average, what would
It would
10,000,
normally about
15,000?
50 to 70,000.
15 to 70,000?
50 to 70.
50? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and the station construction, I'm assuming is that station,
That is Station 63.
63.
Yes.
have you received any data from an environmental company regarding the environmental issues that the property that you're hopefully looking to purchase? Have you done anything further in reference to finding out whether, what kind of environmental problems we have on that site?
We haven't done anything beyond our initial, because I don't know that property is going to be able to be purchased. I still need a resolution from you to allow us to attempt to purchase it, and I don't have any intention on spending any more money on it, on the research, until I know that I can move forward with purchasing the property.
Yeah, and my biggest concern was the environmental issue.
And-
I don't think we should go into any $500,000 purchase without looking into the environmental problem that the site has.
And the Phase 1 study that we did identified a concern in that back corner. And all of the discussions that we've had with the people that do those environmental remediation feels that there is no issue that we cannot overcome with some simple ground work and layering to be able to avoid any of those issues.
And that was from who?
I would have to look back to see
Okay.
the name of the vendor
Okay.
that provided our Tier 1, our Phase 1 for us.
Did they put that in writing? Maybe you call?
I believe it is.
Okay.
When was
I would
that
love
done?
to see that. I'd love to see that. Okay.
When was that done?
That was probably done March, April of last year or year before last.
Updates.
This has been a long process.
Okay, so, Mr. Bellamy, we have to, in reference to the 50 fund resolution,
Need a motion and a second to establish the fund. No money's going in it, no money's going out of it. That's a later formula for a different day.
I make the motion to accept or create the Fund 50 resolution.
I second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the resolution passes. Okay, the CIP resolution.
Okay. Sorry, I was looking for what's not there.
Well, you do, but I, in reference to the overall plan, I'd like to make an amendment to it. To again, I'm concerned about the vehicles, and that's the 2026 1190 cumulative fund, acquisition, improvement, machinery, equipment, furnishing, and facility, staff vehicle purchase. Do we have to do amendments separately?
So just so you know, as I mentioned before, this literally is just a plan, and then we have an entire another year for further discussions. This isn't meaning that we purchase these at all. It's saying that this is the plan, and we have another plan that'll have to be adopted by 9/30/26. So they'll be able to have plenty of thought and go through those processes and what's needed. So it is not a problem to adopt this, because again, this has to be adopted tonight, because we don't have time to advertise it to get it in place before September 30th. So, like I said, this is just merely a plan, and it literally can change tomorrow, and that is not a problem. So just know that, and we have all next year to do this before 12/31/26.
But there's nothing stopping us from approving the plan as amended to Member Peterson's suggested. The plan will still be approved. I don't think that anyone's going to vote it down. I think she just has some reservations, and I share some of those reservations.
And just so you know, if I change that plan, it could then show it be a positive balance, because if I take things out of there, that's gonna increase that balance of then potentially showing that some of those funds are not encumbered. Just so you know that, I just want you to know what you're asking and what would happen if I took things out of the plan. And again, if it shows positive, we do have another full year to make a change, so I just want you to be aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I I know I am aware of it.
Okay, well, I just wanted to point that out.
And my thing is back to Pike Township roads. You know, if there are dollars there that the state will tax for our roads in Pike Township, and there are a number of them. I drive down all the time. Guyan Road is horrible. And a couple of others. Guyan Road just happened to be one because I travel that road every single day. And my concern is if Pike doesn't make a contribution to our infrastructure, then we won't see infrastructure money. That's my biggest concern with this. Now, you know, maybe my colleagues on the board see it differently, but that's my biggest concern. Because once we do this, and I hear what you're saying, it's just a plan. And we're using that word very lightly, okay? Because we're talking about millions of dollars here. So, you know.
I understand, this is a very important situation. I'm not saying that it's not important, and I'm not trying to make light of it by any means.
Now, in reference to, and I know you publicized the budget, okay? And it's publicized, but that doesn't stop us from getting some of the data I've asked for and coming back next Tuesday or next Wednesday or whatever the case may be, as long as we put that 48-hour notice up that we're having a meeting. I just want more information.
Well, the problem on this is you have to advertise it. I have to do a public, we'd have to have another public hearing, and you
Yeah.
have to have 10 days between the time that it's done. The problem with the newspapers, they have to go in Monday by noon to get in there by Friday. There's no newspapers that I can get it into in time to advertise it, to have another meeting before September 30th. That's the problem.
And I understand, and that's the whole point of us, you know, and I know that there may be some other minds that will think differently, but that's the whole problem. Again, in the 6 years I've been sitting on this board, this is my 7th year, and you sat here with us, Beth, that, you know, year after year, we used to get this budget 72 hours before the meeting, and it would be a whole lot to digest because we never got the budget in time. There are some townships that have had their budget for 2 months. 2 months. That young lady that stood up there, Robin Sanders, she works for Warren Township. And Warren Township is probably one of the poorest townships in Marion County. They have no clue how they're gonna help people by October, November.
Yeah.
Okay, and they've had their budget since July. They've been working on their budget. So for us to get this stuff, and then and this is words that I've heard for 6 years now, this is the 7th, we gotta do this now, because we're under some time constraint. If you give us the information 30, 45 days so we can work this stuff out,
I didn't have this information.
I understand, we have something. SB1 was passed back in April. So all I'm saying is, you know, we need time to digest this stuff. And I realize you're up against the clock with the papers. I get all that. You know, is there some other way that we can advertise other than the newspaper? Is there any other way?
I would like to make some comments if I can.
There's no other way.
Let-
Okay.
If I can address everybody to clear up some of the things she has said. Warren Township is not Pike Township. They don't have a fire department. So of course they got their budget. Again, Senate bill was adopted July the 1st. I just want to make sure you guys understand, when we got the information, we sent it out immediately. And it's not fair to sit there and say that we did not do this. You can't compare, as you said 20 minutes ago, our township to another township. Warren Township doesn't have a fire department, so of course they can get their budget in. They're only doing the small claims court and township assistance. Also keep in mind, if the bill went to effect on July the 1st, we got our marching orders then. We don't make the rules when the capital improvement plan is due. Downtown, state government, we're umbrella under state government. We're not trying to rush this. This is the time frame that we were given. Our board meets the third Tuesday of every month. As Bev said, we have to advertise 10 days prior. I think it would serve us to be good stewards, to somehow get the message. You have a legislator right there. Do something. Tell them, why are you sending information to townships and they only got 3 weeks or 30 days to get it before the board and then get it out to get it approved? Please tell me that. If you're gonna tell portions, tell it all. Again, our directives come from downtown, the state government. They make the rules. This is when they gave it to us. And then they turn around and want us to have something done in 30 days. The chief, our accountant, me, spent numerous hours working on this. Our other chief, Goodrich, Bell, I can go on and on. Our attorney, we are working nonstop to make sure that we have the information presented to the board. And I think as the trustee, I've done an excellent job with getting this information to you quicker than the previous trustee. You're right. I sat on the board for 14 years. 14 years, so I think I know what I'm talking about. So again, downtown gives us the information. When we get it, then we work and try to do as much as we can. So don't compare us to Warren Township, to Washington Township, any of them, because again, they do not have a fire department.
I work in Warren. I'm a deputy constable in Warren.
Yeah, you work as a
Warren-
deputy,
Warren-
you don't
Warren-
work
Point of
there.
order, Madam Chair, one person at a
Yeah,
time.
well,
One
tell the
person,
truth,
one
you don't
person.
work there. You work
I
as a
work in
deputy
Warren.
sheriff.
I'm a deputy constable in Warren. Warren is up against the gun financially. It's not just because of the fire department. The fire department left them 15, 20 years ago, okay? It's because of their tax base, okay? A lot of Warren back in the day was the auto industry. And when the auto industry went to Mexico, so did the tax dollars, okay? So it's not because of the fire department.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so, and if
I have
Robin-
an article right here for Warren.
Point of
Township.
order,
Anybody
point
can
of
read
order,
it.
Madam Chair. Reel
I
the trustee
listen,
in.
Again,
listen.
There's the article for
Madam
Warren.
Chair, Madam Trustee, if you continue, I will
I'm not going
adjourn
anywhere.
this meeting.
Well, yeah,
I will adjourn this meeting. We won't get nothing
not
done,
anywhere. Tell the truth.
okay? One more
There's
outburst.
the article.
Trustee
Can I
Johnson,
get a-
please
Can I get a
stop.
motion to adjourn?
What, hold on, Madam Chair, I think that this is starting to become a bit much from the trustee, so I would rather do this instead of adjourn, because I think that we need to approve the capital improvement plan, but I think that the two action items that you or Member Perkins was speaking is fair to remove. It does not stop the capital plan from being approved, and it does not stop us from having to come back or need to come back should we absolutely have to. So I would like for Member Perkins to continue with whatever motions you was making, and we approve the capital improvement plan, and move on.
Now,
Go ahead.
hold on a second. Reference to Mr. Bellamy, okay? We approved this plan without the vehicles and the construction for 2026. Because when you give me multiple years, Beth, this is all pertaining to projections for that next year, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Because it had to be a three-year plan.
So my question is, once we move forward with the amendment of these two items, and we still can do some kind of allocation of some sort, later on, because again, the circuit breaker for the state in reference to this, this CIP plan is 30%. okay, right? Whatever you
That
don't,
doesn't-
whatever,
The circuit breakers, that's two different things.
well, I'm talking about the method itself.
Yes.
Okay. And so the 30% would be on monies that we did not encumber, and maybe the senator can also speak to this, which means that we would still have millions of dollars, if I'm understanding this correctly.
And unrestricted.
And so that's all I'm asking. I'm trying to make this
Wouldn't be able to touch it.
Madam Chairperson, may I interject, please?
move in the direction it needs to move in, with us feeling, again, because, like I said to you earlier this year, Chief, in reference to the environmental part of it, and I realize that property may not be available because months have gone by. But if it is, and we move forward, and we don't have any assurance that there's not an environmental problem 5 years from today, whether it be a gas or something that could happen, and then we are responsible as board members and the township, then, shame on us. That's all. All I'm trying to do is make sure we're covered. That's all. But go on, Jeff.
Couple things. I know you longer than I know most everybody else in this room. Mrs. Blair, you're in that category, and so is Mrs. Magnuson. You remember how we know each other?
Yeah.
Now, they approve comprehensive plans all the time on what used to be the 18th floor, then the 20th floor, then the 21st floor. It's a plan. It's not looking backwards. We base things a little bit about what happened back there, but we look out here yonder in the horizon and try and figure out, well, I think it's going to go this way, or I think it's going to go that way, but I'm not entirely sure. And that PTRA and others exist, and the BZAs and the Area Planning Commission, all that exists because sometimes somebody like me or a colleague of mine get up and say, well, I know that plan is very, very important, but my client needs a break. This is a plan from some gentlemen that all day long, they probably would like to be on the truck. They would probably like to be out in the action, but they get to do this stuff. And bless them for doing it. And so, and it's as important a part of the job as anything. Does anybody know what happens or what has happened to the unit that's messed around with their CIP in relation to the DLGF looking at their budget? Does anybody know? Doesn't anybody know because it hasn't happened yet. And I don't feel like an explorer, and I don't feel like advising you to be an explorer, and I don't feel like being a pioneer. I think we are all here to make sure that you are excellent stewards in this conversation of making sure that your resources are going where they need to. And your fire department has expressed in a plan that over the next 3 years, they strongly anticipate they may need to use these monies. I would advise you not to modify this, to accept it as presented, but if you have further questions as to what accumulated categories are, that's fair game. Is this 4 trucks? Is this 3 trucks? Is this 2 ladders? Is this 1 ladder? Is this 1 ambulance? That's fine, because DLGF doesn't care. This is a blunt instrument, and you're asking for scalpel level. Well, scalpel level's sitting in that folder. It's the AFR that we keep rolling forward of where these dollars go out. I would not find out how the DLGF is going to react based on your CPA saying, well, if you mess with this, you might be short on timing. Now, let me make you a reasonable proposal. Rather than saying, I'm going to jump off on this planning document out into the future and say, I'm going to reduce these so I have funds available to maybe participate in a road program, you're committing and you have no idea, no one's asked question 1 if Public Works wants to participate with you on Guyan Road. Another thing you probably remember is way back in the day, HOAs could get on the list, and they could jump up the list if they would contribute money. Look at where you're at in the 4th quarter to see if you have funds. We are going to be able, if there are funds and if there is a meritorious project, to look and see, hey, instead of dropping these funds into rainy day, let's look at whether or not we make a contribution to our road fund if that is prudent at that time. And then you hold those funds and you say, I am the lockbox. If you come and do a project with me, infrastructure, drainage, Guyan Road, this lady that was sitting here, her road problems, maybe Marion County will say, I'm gonna move you up the list. But committing now, when the fire department has said, even if it's high dollars, it's the upper end estimate. Look at it once you look at actual versus budgeted at that time. There is nothing that stops you from deciding later. This is just to get fallow or inert or lazy money moving. What this is doing is it's forcing people to sit down and go, hey, what are your needs, what are your projects? And your negative number that's showing up, your fire department's come to you and said, to outfit them with boots and coats and cowls and helmets and breathers, and to do it in the NFPA guidelines, all these, to do these things as we are required, there ain't enough. There ain't enough. You know, whichever side you're on, whether you're Jeff Thompson or this gentleman over here, you know, Mr. Taylor, hey, here's the news. I'm all over the state. There ain't enough. That's the discussion. And so all we're doing is looking to see that we're going to not automatically move money over there. So I would just recommend not being too experimental on the first CIP, looking at it at a different time if there are excess funds at a later point, dealing with that at that time. But I don't think there's anything that stops you from making a contribution to a later road fund. Nothing would preclude that. And nothing precludes you from getting sharper detail or finer detail in these categories.
But these categories of monies are identified, these are restricted funds. Am I correct?
These would be out of CUM funds and other restricted funds. They would be in
Right.
those categories.
So there's limitations on what can be done.
To some degree, we would have to look at it on a case-by-case basis because we do interfund loans. We've done those before. We couldn't do road fund money out of the CUM fund, but there could be other funds where if we have excess funds, we could address it at that time. The problem is that this is so dire. The state has made this a very simple yes or no question. It's not a A, B, C, D, E, F grade. I guess we don't get E's. I should pay more close attention to my kids' report cards if they come in with E. A, B, C, D, F. It's pass, fail. You turn this in on 12 or 9/29, you're good. There are going to be units out there, going to be townships out there that are wondering why DLGF is rejecting their October budget. And it's going to be because they didn't tune into the program and they didn't do this plan, and they're going to have to live on savings for a year because they will turn off their levy. You're talking about $30 million to operate your township. I understand you want to make adjustments and look more deeply into things. You're right. You're privileged to do so. I feel very anxious about juggling $30 million and the fire department over whether it's 4 or 5 trucks. That really concerns me. And I think Beth is politely trying to white knuckle her table over there over the same issue because I don't think we can get notice run in time to redo this.
cannot.
And I do not want to be the first one to find out that State Board of Accounts or DLGF says, well, you made a change. You didn't approve what you advertised. You lack advertisement. I'm very uncomfortable with that.
Senator, because I really do want to hear from you also.
Yeah. First, let me make something very clear. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm on these people's side, even people who don't necessarily vote for me. So let me clear that up first. I brought this up in May. Some of you, I remember your faces from the May meeting. And I said to the attorney, to the fire chief, to many of you, that I was willing to sit down and arbitrate so we didn't have this situation when budget time came up. I gave attorney my card. I said, call me, I'll sit down and I'll talk. Well, here we are today. I have never received a call saying, let's talk about this. House Bill 1461 is the impetus of this problem. If you turn in your plan with excess funds, they're going to determine that that money needs to go into that fund you just created. That's what the accountant's trying to tell you. I'm just speaking for her so that she doesn't violate any of her ethics. I am a elected official. If you put money in, if you don't spend the money, it will be assumed to go into your excess funds, right? This is just a plan. Any modifications to that plan, realize DLGF has their finger on, well, you said you weren't gonna spend, for example, Chief, $10 million on a police station, on a fire station. So if you end up doing it, they're gonna say, well, that wasn't in your plan. Or if you were gonna spend $329,000 on one car, up to 5 cars, they're gonna say, that wasn't in your plan. So, attorney's correct. This is just a plan. But what this is also, is this is a hint to what's gonna happen in the next 3 months if we don't come to some resolution about transparency, who's gonna get documents, whether or not these guys are gonna get a raise or not, whether or not the chief is going to be compensated at the level he is. We didn't even hit that yet. And we're sitting here having a problem with a plan. And there's enough blame to go around, I ain't gonna blame nobody.
Amen.
I don't care. I never cared. I told you I didn't care when I came over here and told you what they want us to do is destroy ourselves so they can come over and take over the fire department. Keep going down this road, and that's what's gonna happen. And don't come to me saying, Senator Taylor, vote against it, when I know what I've been through. That's all I'm telling you. So, I think you should plan. I'm not telling you what to do. If I was in your position, I would approve the plan, even though you were given the plan today. Should have been a while ago.
It was a while ago. Stop it.
Again,
Just stop it.
I don't care.
But don't say that then.
This is the bottom line. Here, let me say this too. I heard the reports about Senate Bill 1 delaying everybody getting their report in the townships. Correct. But it wasn't just Senate Bill 1. It was 1461. There were a couple other House bills. And really, the only thing you have to get to the government before the end of September is your plan. So you could have still put out a proposed budget back in July. It's the plan that that got held up by the accountant, and I feel sorry for her because many of her colleagues were put in that position. You still could have got the budget out. There's 2 budgets. There's a plan, and then there's a budget. So we just need to get it together. We just need to move on. If the fire department feels like they need to have that land, then go through the environmental phase 2. You can do that. You can ask the seller to give you a phase 2. We could ask that. Probably wouldn't be necessary if they said that the phase 1 was only a minuscule piece of land. We can ask them. If they don't want to give it to that, we'll be like, hey, you know what? Sell the land to somebody else. See what happens. I bet they'll come back to us. These are things that are common sense. And all I'm saying, as a member of the Indiana General Assembly, we don't make it easy on you guys. But please, this is not making it easy on me. Let's pass the plan, move forward with the budget, which we probably need to have more people here when the budget discussions come up, because that's when you get in the nitty-gritty of everything. And just put the information on the website. Put the information on the website.
I will when the other townships do.
Put the information on the website.
Claudette, we need to
I'm
wrap
gonna
this
say,
up.
that's all I'm saying. Because 2 months from now, when you're having this argument,
Hold on, folks, hold on.
the bottom line is 2 months from now, when you're having this argument, it's gonna be around whether or not these guys are getting paid. And don't make them suffer because you won't do something.
Thank you, Senator Taylor.
Okay, we're gonna move with the amendments.
I don't have no amendments.
And you have,
You wanna read this one?
This is the CIP plan, it's not the budget.
yes, Cynthia?
Spell my last name right, please.
So regarding the budget, right? About the plan? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so my name is Cynthia Scarborough. I'm a taxpayer in Pike Township. But the thing is, the problem with this is, I haven't come to these meetings. And I'm new to it, and I hate to get caught up in semantics, but we do need to use some taxonomy in the financial area. I'm hearing the word plan. I'm an engineer. Plan means execute. Projection means some analytics, some basic purpose and reason why we are, what the projections are, and some definition behind it. You can even put comments in an Excel spreadsheet on how the projection is done. You mentioned FHA. Is it 8%? What is it? What's the projection based on? But I know this is probably not the time, because we don't have the time to do it. But when you use the word plan, it just threw me off. Now I'm hearing it's projection. It doesn't mean anything. It just needs to be submitted. We don't have a basis for these projections, detailed. There's such a thing as analytics. You can chat GPT that. And
Like that.
use some analytics from last year, years before, comparison, so that we can understand how the purpose of these, numbers and where they're coming from. Because right now, I just think they're coming out of the NIC.
Well, also, when you're doing a budget, it's the same situation. It's a plan of what you're wanting to spend it on, but that doesn't mean that's what you do spend it on.
I understand.
I mean, things can change, and that's exactly what this is as well. So it's a little bit different than from
Well,
where you're
there's-
coming from. And I understand where you're coming from. as far
With all
as
due
your
respect,
position.
and like I said, taxonomy, I don't know financial.
Right,
That's
and
why I'm an
what saying.
engineer.
Yours is, I totally understand where you're coming from, but I'm just saying, it's no different than like with the budget. And to your point, you were talking about you wanna take the building out. Well, actually, in the 25 budget, we had it budgeted to do the building this year, which we didn't, but you have to reappropriate it for next year. So again, that was the plan for this year, but we're not using it this year.
It was a projection.
It was it was in the plan, because that's what was adopted.
It was in the budget.
It was in the budget, and that was what was adopted, but we aren't doing that. Again, when we have to, on any of these things, it's a plan, but again, when we have big projects and things like they're coming to you with the land, you, as the board, you do approve this, so you're looking at this as an oversight as far as that. So you do see that, so that's what I'm saying, it's literally the numbers, and it's again, it all depends, there's a lot of factors that go into place in building a building. I mean, again, if you have to do a phase two, if there's things that cause it to slow down, and all those things, those are brought before you to go through all that, and it's approved. I mean, especially when it's $10 million, there's, it's gotta go through the capital projects and all of that, so.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Cynthia.
But one other thing is, I don't know if there's any working together in between these public meetings, because this seems like a work session as opposed to a meeting and proposals. Are we working together before these public meetings? Because I don't get the impression that we are. People are being handed documents on the spot and it's supposed to vote on them and approve them, and I don't understand that.
Well, and I did meet with 3 of the board members individually, I mean, two at one time, because you can't have 3 in a meeting because it's a quorum. but I did meet with 3 of the board members that requested meetings, that I did go over the budget and this capital improvement plan before this meeting tonight.
Right.
And again, I am willing to meet with anyone regarding the budget before the next meeting, before the approval, and I'm happy to do that. We met on Zoom, I put it up on the screen, went over it, answered their questions. I had a few things I couldn't answer. I sent an email back answering those questions, and I still have one that I'm trying to get final. But I am willing to meet with the people, so we are trying to accommodate their questions if they have them.
Yeah, there's,
I mean, that's why I wanna make sure they
I
feel
think she's
good
talking about
about
the
it.
There-
collective, Beth.
there are methodologies, and there's some really intelligent people here, I'm really impressed, you know, and, if I may, that assure success, you know, and best practices. And we've been working for 30 years, a lot of us have been in, you know, our careers for 30 years or more. And we need to apply those best practices for Pike Township and work together. And bring a cumulative agreeing resolution to the public. Because I'm totally lost. And now I'm just understanding it's a projection, it's not a big deal. But the projection is a big deal because the analytics behind it are not clear. But we're gonna take that, you know, chance, we gotta meet a deadline. I'm pretty much, if anybody has any questions for me or wanna counter me, feel free.
Thank you for that, Ms. Cynthia. Thank you so much.
We gotta work between these meetings and off the record sometime
Yeah.
as a team.
Yes, thank you so much. Madam Chair, I would recommend, this is just my suggestion, the budget, we don't do anything with, we take that under advisement for this budget. We focus on the CIP plan that needs to be approved by September 30th, and we allow, since this is a plan, I think what Member Perkins was saying was in support of your position, and kind of to what the chief alluded to. You have concerns regarding the environmental issues. It makes no sense for us to have that in the CIP plan right now, especially if there's a resolution that we can approve at a later time. So to me, it makes sense to remove those items from the CIP plan, discuss it once the chief is able to get a secondary opinion on the environmental issues, and we move forward with that, get the CIP plan approved tonight, and then we come back on the budget, since we don't have to vote on the budget issue until by November. So I would like to entertain any motion that Member Perkins was in a process of making for the CIP plan only.
Yeah, I still have one. Could we just put in parentheses projection plan? Semantics matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Member Perkins, will you make that?
You can't, it's from downtown.
Okay, Member Perkins, it's yours.
You can't.
Projection plan. We're doing a resolution.
We weren't doing the budget anyway tonight.
This is just for the CIP plan.
The budget's not on the agenda.
Hopefully we'll get this passed.
I'm gonna make a motion just to approve it.
Yeah, the motion that you got earlier from Jack.
Cause we can change it.
No, for the CIP plan.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, we can't. We can't. We need to get those two items out of the CIP plan. Just read what was said.
Okay, you ready? Okay, I make a motion to approve the CIP plan with an amendment to remove the station construction line item from years 2026 and 2029, specifically the fourth line that reads 2026-1111 Township Fire and EMS Structure, a building or structure station construction, $10 million. And the 22nd line reading 2029-1111 Township Fire and EMS Construction, a buildings or structure station construction of $6 million. Do I have a second motion?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You said I'm supposed to say that.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Deborah
All
said aye,
opposed?
too.
Deborah said aye too. Okay.
Deborah said aye too.
Deborah
Ashley.
said aye.
Ashley? Aye,
Okay, so passes.
So the motion passed to amend the
CIP.
CIP plan. Was the vehicle in there also?
No.
Get in there.
Okay, so the 10 million for the station construction and the 6 million for the station construction for 2029, and the first one was for 2026.
2026 to 2029.
Attorney Bellamy, how would that work? Do we have to reissue another hearing?
I haven't uploaded it. I can make a change.
That's-
Download this.
That's why I want to make sure.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's the position I've been making.
Just note that this will make it a positive balance. I just want to put that on record, that everyone realizes there will be a positive balance.
Member
But-
Perkins?
Well, and the thing here with the positive balance,
Yes.
um,
Thank you.
and if it's true that that money will go towards Pike Township roads, I think that's a good thing. I could be wrong, but I think that's a good thing. And for those who live in certain sections of Pike, those of us who don't live, if we live in the north part of Pike, you know, the roads are pretty smooth. When you live on the south end of Pike, they're pretty bad.
Member Perkins, there's a
Can I
second
make
amendment from
can
Kenya
I
Perkins.
go on the record to state something?
Hold on a second,
Member
trustee.
Perkins was still in her
Okay.
motion. She had a second one.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, the second motion. I make a motion to amend the capital improvement plan to remove the purchase of staff vehicles, specifically line 2, 2026, 1190, cumulative fire township acquisition or improvement of machinery, equipment, furnishing, or facilities, staff vehicle purchase of $329,000.
Can I get a second on the motion?
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. We got 4
Opposed, 2 opposed, and 3 aye.
Okay, so I just want to make
yays
sure.
and 1 nay on that particular amendment
And then,
of the 329,
Yeah.
Beth.
Okay, so I'm
For
removing the $10
2026.
million, I'm removing the $6 million, and I'm removing the $329,000?
Yes.
Is that the three things?
Yes.
the line item
Okay.
number, yeah.
I got it. I just
Okay.
want to make sure I've got the right numbers.
Okay. And then we have to approve so Madam Chair, if I would move to accept the CIP plan as amended so we can get it passed today.
Okay. Fine. Can I get a motion? Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, I get a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor of the amendments so we can approve the CIP plan for 2026?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Deb said aye.
Deb said aye. All opposed? You say aye? Aye.
Okay, pass.
So that's 5 yays and no, 0 nays. The motion approves with the amendments.
CIP is approved. That's good.
Can I go on the record making a
Now
statement?
you can go on the record, yes.
Yes, I can.
I said, yes, you can.
Thank you. I would hope that the audience and these residents understand that when you take away services and equipment and things that we need for our fire department, you're putting them at jeopardy. We want to make sure that our firefighters, men and women, are safe with the equipment that they have. And that's why that amount is always in the budget, to protect them. They're out there working for this community, and I think it's wrong to do that. My second point is infrastructure should come from the city of Indianapolis, from the mayor's office. That's who's over infrastructure for this city. We paying taxes, that's where it should come from. Not take the money out of the township budget for infrastructure. Of course, we want to have good roads and streets. But again, your taxpayers and dollars are going as much as it is to the city of Indianapolis, and they are getting away with not doing what they need to do and putting it on the burden of the township. And for that, our firefighters will suffer. Thank you.
I am, Member Perkins, you needed something? Go.
Hold on.
ahead.
Who wants to respond first?
You want to go?
No, go ahead.
I I'm gonna go on the record and say this, I'm over fear baiting. We just passed a motion to simply remove the dollar value that on a resolution that we still have to pass so the chief and the fire department can move forward. There's just a technicality. We still have a resolution out there for the fire department to move forward with. So this is fear baiting, Trustee Johnson. I'm over it. And what we just approved
good
was
for
to get
you.
the, well, good for, you know what? I'm not gonna entertain that. What we just approved was the CIP plan so we
I
can
wouldn't
get it
take
done by
anything
the
out of fire
deadline. The
department.
fire department will not hurt. If you go back and look at the actual plan, the line item is a vehicle that the trustee operates, and it's more cost
I said
effective.
what I said.
Hold on.
I said
It's
what I
more
said.
cost effective if we have a mileage reimbursement versus paying for a maintenance of a vehicle that we don't have any items for. And the second part to that piece was to remove the funding out of the plan for a resolution that we still have to vote on for the chief to build on property that has environmental issues that Madam Chairperson wants to address. We are not going to fear bait this community. And we can always come back and address anything should there be an issue that needs to be addressed. The plan was to get the CIP approved and then to work on the budget monetary issues next month without putting the township at risk. So anything outside of that, Trustee Johnson, is a lie and fear baiting.
Well, good for your
And
comments.
the other thing, in reference to the fire department, we support the fire department,
Wholeheartedly.
okay? 110%, okay, in this township,
You don't.
okay? So we're not taking anything from you all. You know, your contract ends at the end of this year, okay? You'll have a contract next year, all right? You'll have a fire truck to go and respond to emergencies, okay? None of that stuff is being taken away from you. You have a firehouse, okay, that you live in for your shift. You have all the things that you're going to need, okay? And to Mr. Hicks's point, all we're doing is taking out staff vehicles, which until the chief shows me that we didn't buy 3, 4 vehicles 2.5 years ago, because I know we did, to satisfy my sense of responsibility when it comes to taxpayers' dollars. Also with the station, giving me something in writing that some environmental company said, this is okay to build on, and we're not going to be faced with some catastrophe down the road, okay? And the same thing with the station construction. So as far as the firefighters and the EMS folk, you're going to get what you need. We've always supported that, always. And I don't care what anybody has said, because I know there's talk in the fire stations. We've always supported you. And back, some of you might have been here, some of you might not have been here. During 2021, 2022, I took my own personal money that I get from this township, this board, and bought pizza for 2 years in a row. Might not have been the best pizza in the world, but it was pizza. That cost me thousands of dollars. So don't ever say or talk or believe that I don't care about you, because I do. Okay, we got a couple more, okay. Now, in reference to the resolution with the fire station on West 86th Street, is there any presentation that you want to make? Since we,
If you want to entertain the resolution, I'd be glad to. I'm not sure where that stands right now.
well, yeah, so, you guys want to entertain?
Don't you want to see a table it?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we need to table it.
All right, so, do we need a motion to table it, Jeff? Do we need,
Absolutely, you can table it, but we've, unlike the Colts, we've punted this a few times. What needs to happen for it to untable? We talked about it outside of a couple other things, and whether or not the department wants to go forward. What has to happen for it to get a hearing and a vote here?
Well, like I said, for me, I want some assurance in reference to the land that and it may be available now, may not be available. We may have to start all over again, I don't know.
And
But-
so with that, with a phase two environmental study, that's another $15,000 to $20,000. And you're okay with us spending
Yeah.
those funds and still maybe not give me a resolution to be able to purchase the property? Whether those, irrespective of where those, what the response for that phase two environmental study is.
Is there a price on safety and
Excuse me?
security? Is there a price on safety and security?
No, there certainly is not.
Okay.
We'll spend the money.
I'd rather be on the safe side than the sorry side.
Well, to answer your initial question, then it would just be no action tonight, and I think there's been direction given.
Okay.
What needs to happen to get it back to report to you for consideration at whatever later time that would occur.
So you have to take a motion on that to table it or just table it?
I think no action is the action.
Okay, all right, then we move forward.
And you don't have to do a motion on doing that.
We move forward. Okay, trustee Johnson.
Just like to say thanks for coming out to the residents.
Okay,
Is that it?
yeah.
All right, well, I think we've already had the public comments. So could I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I
Second,
second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
The next meeting is October 21st.